Hello and welcome to EV Review Ireland. My name is Reilly. Today we're going to be looking at the Škoda ENYAQ, so let's get started. Today's video is sponsored by EasyGo. As well as being Ireland's largest EV charging network, EasyGo supports over 10,000 Irish EV drivers to find and use more than 1,200 charge points active on the EasyGo app. This works across the island of Ireland, north and south. The team at EasyGo also provide home, workplace and public chargers together with fleet management and payment service solutions, ideal for businesses transitioning their fleets to electric vehicle driving. Let's have a look at the front of the Škoda ENYAQ. I prefer the look of this over the ID4. Some people don't, some people do. Obviously the deciding factor is this grille and whether it obviously doesn't need it because it's closed off. It's an electric vehicle. There are some air vents in underneath, but like the ID4 doesn't have this. But this has it. The Q4 e-tron has it. Big good Škoda badge on the front of it. You've got your cameras and sensors up at the top. You also have ultrasonic and a camera in the front here as well. So plenty of technology going on, but also the design wise of it and the creases, as I said, I prefer to the ID4. This has the LED matrix headlights as well. You've got your window washers, a really nice front, but some people don't like that grille. Let me know in the comments what you think. Working our way down along the side, you can see some functionality in the design. You've got that, and I think you can see the light through the video there. You've got that air. It brings it around over the tyres, so that's a functional, but up here you've got a bit of fakeness going on. Some people don't like it, I don't mind it, I think it adds to the design of it. Massive wing mirrors like I talked about in the ID4, really, really good. Lots of seagulls out today, which is great. You've got the strong crease line running along the shoulder, you've got the chrome around the windows, and you've got the roof rails, and they can take up to 75 kgs. 21-inch tyres on this car. Personally, I think they're actually too big. I think the 20s look better in it. And you'll know about it when you're replacing them as well. Škoda ENYAQ comes in 8 colours, 7 metallic, and the blue there is the non-metallic. Let's have a look along the back. Right, starting at the back, you've got your shark fin area at the top. You have that spoiler, very similar to the ID4, that comes out over the back of the roof line. You've got your high-level brake light, your window wiper, massive Škoda badge, or not even badge, sorry, massive Škoda name. Then you've got your ENYAQ, all the Škoda SUVs end in a Q, so you've got your Kodiaq, your Kodiaq, etc. And then you've got your IV, and that stands for Intelligent Vehicle, and then the 80 signifies whether it is the larger battery or not. The smaller battery has the 60. We'll talk about battery sizes when we're driving it. This has the power tail gift, and it also has the option of, if it'll work for me, yes it will, the kick opening. It has 585 litres, and if you put the seats down it brings it up to 1,710, so a large, it has that cover as well, and you just pop it down and it slides back in. In the boot you have, this version doesn't have the false floor. You can get one with a false floor, and it has like cable management, like gloves and things to clean the cables, but underneath here you do have a well, and it is for, you can put your cables etc into it, and then if you're carrying stuff around, that's just the gimbal for my camera. There are some handy things like this Velcro kind of corner, so you can pop it in, stick it down, and that's not going to slide around anywhere else. You have 60/40 seats, you have your ski hatch through as well, and you've got your shopping bag hooks, really good, and then you also have a 12 volt and you have lights back here as well, so lots of good functionality. And up on top you have your ice scraper, and it has a tyre depth gauge built into that as well, so lots of handy little features. As always in the Škodas, they call it simply clever. But overall nobody's going to be disappointed with that boot. Great size. It's not a totally flat entrance, but it's very, very good. Let's have a look on the inside. What's it like inside the Škoda ENYAQ? Really, really good, and it's sitting in between that Volkswagen ID, which is unusual. It sits in between that Volkswagen ID4, very minimalist, and the Q4 e-tron. This has a nice balance of both physical buttons, large screen, etc. But let's start from the door, as we always do, and work our way in. On that door you have that another element of Škoda cleverness. Built into the door is a recess, and on the driver's side with the car you get your umbrella. There is a recess in the passenger door as well, and you can buy either a second umbrella or move it back and over depending on what you want. Great sized doors and really easy door handles. There's a handle to pull, but there's also a handle to open. It also has because it has the powered tailgate, it has that button there as well. You've got your regular buttons, and this is where I prefer this over the ID4. It has your regular buttons for your retractable wing mirrors to adjust them, and also has front and rear electric windows, and also has electric and door locks for children and window locks as well for people in the back. Great size door bin, easily accepts the EV Review Ireland water bottle. It has this kind of design where it's kind of like perforated holes. Some people like it, some people don't. It also has leather or fake leather, I'm not sure. On the door itself, it has a nice feature. It has that LED ambient lighting in underneath the recesses of the dash. But when you open the door, the light on the door actually goes red, as well as having a reflector, but just for that traffic that's coming on. Really, really smart. This model has the 3 presetted electrically adjusted seats for the driver. The passenger has manually adjusted. This also has lumbar support. So that's the door and the seats. Seats are really good, really comfortable. Some people like this colour, again, some people don't. I don't mind it, but it has a nice, slightly more premium feel than the Volkswagen. And we keep comparing it to the Volkswagen because they're coming out of the same factory. Sorry, I'll rephrase that. It has the MEB platform underneath, which is the same for all of them. It's not coming out of the same factory. Obviously, this is a Skoda and the Volkswagen is a Volkswagen. But the undercarriage is the exact same, so it is that MEB platform. Steering wheel is lovely. It's a 2-spoke steering wheel. Really nice features on it. Again, proper buttons and lovely knurled thumb for volume, and it has the regenerative pedals behind it. And then on the right hand side you have your lights and you have your window wipers, etc. And then on the left hand side you have your lights and indicators, and then you've got a third stalk on the left hand side for your cruise control, etc. This is reach and rake, which is always acceptable. And then above my knee on the right hand side you have your lights. It's on automatic, but it has fog rear, but then it also has what they call bad weather, which is kind of like front fogs, and it utilizes that LED matrix headlights. Good big and easily adjustable vents. The dash itself on the top is kind of like this soft material towards the front, and then it goes into a kind of a harder plastic towards the back. It has the continuation of that design feature in that front speaker, where it kind of is like a dotted perforated effect. It's not bad. Moving over, a beautiful piece of technology with that 13-inch landscape screen, touchscreen. It has wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. It's the best implementation of Android Auto I've ever seen. Just the size, what's shown, how it's done. It's not perfect. There is a couple of lines here and there where you can still see the background, but overall, really, really good. At the bottom, it has one simple haptic touch on or off, and then it has a long slider for volume. So it's easy enough to get to. It's not all it's not all reliant on touch. There is a lot of stuff still in there that is touch requirements. So you have your telephone, radio, navigation. Navigation is obviously built in. It does take Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You have your assist systems, and then underneath that, then you've got some shortcuts. So you've got a button that says set on it, and you can set that to whatever shortcut you'd like that button to do. Then you've got your drive modes, your parking assist, your hazard lights, which are nice and central. You have your central lock and your quick button for climate, but when you press that, then you go into the touch screen, and then you can have smart air conditioning, classic air conditioning, and air care, very similar to the Volkswagen ID4. You've got your max defog, and you've got your rear. Underneath that, then you've got your one wireless phone holders. One is wireless, one isn't. You've got your drinks holder, kind of small actually, because this isn't too big of a bottle, but you're squeezing it in really, so it's coffee cups, and your bottles go in the doors. And this is movable, and it has those little knurls on the bottom, or knobs on the bottom, that again is a Skoda thing where you can stick a water bottle in it and you can unlock it. Also above the wireless charging pad are 2 USB Type-C chargers. Behind that then you've got a nice little storage area here. You've got the nicest little gear selector. It's kind of like I don't know what you'd call it. It's kind of like a little either like a domino, or it's like a little one of those little model cars, matchbox cars, tiny little thing. Lovely, perfect, exactly what you want. You've got your electronic handbrake, and you've got a little slot, 2 little slots for coins, if you still need coins. Behind that then you have a adjustable armrest. It doesn't move forward and back, but it kind of comes in far enough for that, but you can set it for what you want. But underneath that, within it, you've got a handy little pocket, and then you have a decent sized storage bin with an elasticated holder in there as well, and it does not have any USB chargers in there. So you've got your pad and you've got your 2 at the front, and that fits down there. Up top you've got your sunroof, and it is one that actually opens up, and you also have a blind on that as well. You've got your SOS button, you've got your visors, which are lights built in that turn on once you open the visor. An area I didn't mention was in underneath here. Massive area down there. Overall, well built. I like the design. It's better than the ID4. I prefer the Audi Q4 e-tron. I think there's a bit more buttons in it, but this, as I said, I'd be happy to recommend this to people if they don't want to spend the money on the Audi. I'd prefer this over the Volkswagen ID4, and I've had 3 goes at the ID4 on the channel, and I'll put the links in the description and at the end of the actual at the end of the video. Let me know in the comments what you think of the differences between the 3, which one tickles your fancy. In Ireland, the allocation for 2021 for the Škoda ENYAQs are already sold out, so you can go on a waiting list for 2022. So whether they under-ordered, whether they wanted to put the focus on Volkswagen ID4s, I don't know, but it's interesting. There's a virtual cockpit with regards to what's in front of the driver, so that's built into the console rather than on the ID4 where it's floating, and on that then you've got your range, your odometer, you've got your what mode you're in, battery percentage in a visualization. If you want to actually find out what the percentage is, you have to go into the main screen, but overall it is it's a kind of a 3. It's very similar to the Volkswagen ID4, and you can change whether you want 2s or 1s depending on what section you're in. Very clear, very good. There is a heads-up display, but it's not on this model. Let's have a seat in the rear, see what the space is like. This is set for me. I'm 6'2" and it's 187 centimeters. In the back of the Škoda ENYAQ, lots of space. You probably have another 20 or 30 millimeters between my legs, and it's probably up a small bit high, but not bad. There is 3 ISOFIX in this car, 2 in the back and 1 in the front. You also have an option here where it is a little phone pocket, and there's like a smaller pocket. Underneath that then you also have the picnic table set up. So if you wanted to have your phones there, and there's also on the side of that then there's a drinks holder. Great for kids, I'd say. In the rear you have you've got your central vents, and you can adjust the temperature, and you have 2 USB type A's, sorry, 2 USB type C's. On the door itself, you've got a great big opening for a water bottle. You've got that handle to close the door, and you've got the handle to open it. Also another nice feature that you have is you've got the built-in blinds, which would be very handy, but you have privacy glass here as well. Touch sensitive courtesy lights. It's probably very dark back here now with all those lights off. Headrests, a really nice feature on the headrest is they have like 2 sides, so you can rest and fall asleep. Never seen that before. Really, really smart. Have in the armrest, and you have your pop-out drinks holders as well. Very well appointed back here. Nice, comfortable seats. Lots going on for the passengers. Very, very good. And that light, sunroof doesn't come all the way back, but it's still letting a lot of light into it. It seems to be tinted as well, so it wouldn't, on a hot day, it wouldn't roast everybody in the car as well. Let's see what it's like on the road. We also have some puddle lights. If you think this car is for you, you can contact EasyGo and register for the app by clicking the link on the screen or in the description. What's it like driving the Škoda ENYAQ? Really nice. It also has that HESI system, which is like a keyless entry. So it has the little, you touch the handle and it'll open up, and it also has the you just put it into drive and away it goes. You can hear it engage there. There is a start-stop button on the actual side of the steering column as well, but I've not used it yet, and I've had the car all week. So the Škoda ENYAQ IV, to give it its full title, the 60 is a 58 kilowatt hour battery, and it has a price of starting from 37,465, which is really good value. And the battery is big enough for a lot of people. If you want this version, which is the 80, which is the top of the range, which has a 77 kilowatt hour battery, that has a starting price of 44,712 after all the grants. So a bit of a step up, but you are getting a much larger battery, and you have other options in there as well. WLTP of this one is 513, but the real world and what I'm getting this week is about 460. 0 to 100 in this is about 8.6 seconds, and it is a rear wheel drive. They will be bringing out a 80X, and that will be all wheel drive, and they'll also be bringing out an RS version as well. Škoda ENYAQ has a 150 kilowatt motor that gives you 204 PS and 310 Newton meters of torque, so plenty powerful. It is a lovely drive. The steering wheel is well weighted. The suspension is set up really nicely. There are a couple of things I don't like. I don't like the stopping system. There's no park, as in the park is the handbrake, but on other models you just press a button and it goes into park, which I prefer. So that's a bit funny. And then there's the small here and there on the driver, on the passenger's seat rail, there isn't a shielding, and we had this issue on the Volkswagen ID4 as well, where it just looked a bit rough around the edges. Now, there's very little other places I don't like it, but just there, and just a little bit of plastic covering would have really helped the aesthetics of it. But it's a really nice car. Would recommend it, as I mentioned. Depending on what battery size you want, it's all good. Things you need to watch out for on the Škoda ENYAQ when you're ordering one, if you haven't done it already. It comes as standard with a 50 kilowatt DC onboard charger, or the capability of taking 50 kilowatt on in DC, apologies. That's low. Now you can spec that, you can pay more and get a 125 capability. Now the 50 is fine if you understand what that means. It's just going to take longer for you to charge at DC chargers. If you're doing a lot of motorway or you're planning a lot of miles, make sure that you spec the higher DC capability, number one. Number two, it also does not come with a heat pump. And that heat pump is around 1,200 euros, 1,300 euros, 1,294. So if you do want that heat pump, and what that heat pump means is it'll make sure that you're getting the most out of the battery, because it takes heat from the ambient temperature and also from other elements of the car to heat up the cabin, etc. So just be wary of those two things when you are buying it. There are things that are kind of hidden away in the options and you might not know what they mean. So just make sure that you understand them and the reasons that, I don't know why Škoda are charging more for it. Heat pump should be a standard thing, and also it should be the fastest capable of DC as well. So just watch for those two things. You also have blind spot on this version that I have. It's the same as the Volkswagen ID4. It's got the large illuminated light on the side of the actual mirror itself. It's not built into the mirror, but it's great. You get so used to it, and then when you drive a car where you don't have blind spot, you just need to keep your head on a swivel with regards to making sure you're checking over your shoulders and checking those blind spots. Charging the Škoda ENYAQ on AC, so at home or at destination chargers, you will get 11 kilowatts, which is good. And that will, on the smaller battery, take 9.5 hours to fill up, and on the larger battery, which this one has, take about 13 hours. So it's a big battery, and it's great that they have the capability of charging it at 11 kilowatts. Charging on DC, if you go for the higher capability, will go from 10 to 80% in about 45 minutes. And obviously, if you go for the 50 kilowatts, it's going to take a bit longer. You can tow with the Škoda ENYAQ, but depends on what version you have. So the 60 and the 80, so this one and the smaller battery one can tow up to 1,000 kgs. And then when the 80X, which is the four-wheel drive, and also the RS version, they'll be able to tow 1,200 kgs, apologies. So if you need to tow more, you just need to go for the higher spec.
Just a reminder that today's video was sponsored by EasyGo, who are now offering a year's free driving when EasyGo installs a charger at your home or business. For more info or to submit for a quote, click the link on the screen or in the description.
That's my review of the Škoda ENYAQ. You can see why here, at least in Ireland, for the rest of 2021, they are sold out. An amazing electric vehicle, an amazing family car. Lots of competition in this place. It's obviously got its own cousins with the ID4 from Volkswagen and the Audi Q4 e-tron, but there's so many other players coming into this space with the, you've got the Kia EV6, Hyundai Ioniq 5, Ford Mustang Mach-E, Tesla Model Y, and so on and so on. We start to get that feeling this is the sweet spot for manufacturers, but also it's what people want. It's that family SUV. This is probably going to be the car I'm going to recommend to a lot of families. Hopefully they get a lot more of these in 2022 because they're going to need them. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's review. Leave a comment below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. And remember, if you think an EV is for you, leave it to me and I'll review. Thanks so much for watching.